The fluorescent lights of the community theater buzzed like angry hornets as I stumbled backward, my script pages scattering across the worn linoleum floor. My father's hand, calloused from years at the auto shop, still tingled on my chest where he'd shoved me. Hard enough to knock the wind out of me, but not hard enough to draw blood. "You're not my son anymore," he spat, his voice a gravelly whisper that echoed louder than any shout. "Not if you're going to parade this filth in front of God and everybody." I hit the ground with a thud that jarred my teeth, the impact sending a sharp pain up my spine. But it was his eyes, those steel-blue eyes I'd idolized my whole life, that shattered me. They weren't filled with the fiery rage I'd braced for. No, they were empty, like I'd already died in them. That moment replayed in my head like a bad loop on an old VHS tape as I drove through the rain-slicked streets of Chicago, the wipers slapping rhythmically against the windshield of my beat-up Ford Focus. It was 2 weeks before the audition that changed everything, but in that theater lobby, with the smell of stale popcorn and fresh paint hanging in the air, I'd felt the world crack open beneath me. I'd been practicing lines for the lead in Shadows of the Closet, a play about a young gay man coming out in the heartland. Ironic, right? Me, Logan Hayes, 23 years old, fresh out of community college with a theater minor and dreams bigger than this windy city could hold. I'd poured my soul into that script, scribbling notes in the margins about my own buried secrets, the ones I'd hidden since high school locker room whispers and stolen glances at boys who looked like they stepped out of a Gap ad. Dad had shown up unannounced. I'd invited him once, months ago, thinking maybe, just maybe, he'd see the passion in my eyes and not the label on my heart. But there he was, barreling through the double doors in his grease-stained work jacket, face redder than the exit sign. "What the hell is this?" he'd growled, snatching the script from my hands before I could explain. I'd frozen, heart hammering like a bass drum in a marching band. The other actors, mostly queer kids like me, with their rainbow pins and easy laughs, had scattered like pigeons, leaving me alone in the crosshairs. And then the shove. Not a slap, not a punch, something worse. A rejection, physical and final. His words slithered into my ears. "I didn't raise no fairy. You're done here, Logan. Go fix cars like a man, or don't come home." He stormed out, the door slamming like a guillotine, and I sat there on the floor, pages fluttering around me like dying butterflies, until the custodian found me an hour later, curled up and sobbing. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I crashed at Hunter's place, the one guy who'd stuck by me through every awkward coming-out fumble. Hunter Ellis, tall, broad-shouldered, with that effortless Midwestern charm that made him look like he belonged on a football field or a farm, not in a cramped Wrigleyville apartment stacked with dog-eared philosophy books and half-finished screenplays. We'd met freshman year at Harold Washington College, bonded over late-night shifts at the campus coffee shop, trading stories about absent moms and dads who thought tough love meant silence. He was straight, or so he said, but there was always this undercurrent. This way his knee would brush mine under the table, lingering just a second too long. "Jesus, Lo," he'd said that night, pulling me into a hug that smelled like Irish spring and fresh laundry. His arms were strong, unyielding, and for a moment, I let myself melt into them, pretending it was more than pity. "Your old man's an asshole. You know that, right? This play, it's your shot. Don't let him steal it." I pulled back, wiping my face on my sleeve, forcing a laugh that sounded like choking. "Yeah, well, he's all I've got. Mom bailed when I was 5, remember? Chased some dream in LA with a guitar and a prayer. Dad's the one who stuck around, taught me to change oil, throw a curveball. And now," my voice cracked, and I trailed off, staring at the Cubs poster on his wall like it held answers. Hunter handed me a beer from the mini-fridge, cracking his own with a hiss. "Stuck around? He just shoved you like you were trash. That's not sticking, man. That's squatting." He sank onto the sagging couch, patting the spot beside him. "Sit. Talk. Or don't. But you're not driving back to that house tonight." I sat, close enough to feel the heat radiating off him, and we talked, or rather, I ranted, until the sky outside lightened to a bruised purple. About the audition, how it'd be my first real chance to play someone like me on stage, not some sidekick or tragic footnote. About Dad's church buddies, the ones who'd whisper, "Pray the gay away" behind his back. about the fear gnawing at my gut that if I nailed this role, I'd lose the last thread tying me to the family I'd scraped together. By morning, the rain had stopped, leaving the city steaming under a reluctant sun. Hunter made eggs, burnt on one side, perfect on the other, and we ate in silence, the kind that felt companionable, not awkward. "You got rehearsal today?" he asked, scraping his plate clean. "Yeah, but I think I'm done with that theater for now." I pushed my food around, appetite gone. "Maybe I'll just, I don't know, drop it." His fork clattered against the ceramic. "Bullshit. You're Logan freaking Hayes, the guy who memorized the entire Rent soundtrack in a weekend. You don't drop dreams because some redneck in flannel can't handle his kid shining." He leaned forward, elbows on knees, those hazel eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that made my pulse stutter. "Promise me you'll show up. For you, not for him." I promised, because saying no to Hunter was like saying no to gravity, pointless. But as I left his apartment, keys jingling in my pocket, doubt coiled tighter than a spring. What if Dad was right? What if stepping into that light meant stepping out of everything safe? The next few days blurred into a haze of avoidance. I skipped family dinner, texted Dad a lame, busy with work, excuse, and buried myself in odd jobs. Dog walking in Lincoln Park, bartending at a dive on Division Street where the tips were fat, but the stares from drunk straights made my skin crawl. Hunter checked in daily, his text a lifeline. "You alive? Cubs won. Owe me a beer. Thinking about that monologue you did last week. Killed it." It was his voice that pulled me back to rehearsal on Thursday. I showed up late, script creased and coffee-stained, and the director, a no-nonsense woman named Rita with a buzz cut and a tattoo of Audre Lorde on her forearm, didn't bat an eye. "Hayes," she barked, "you're late. But you're here. Let's run the closet scene." The other actors nodded, a mix of sympathy and solidarity in their eyes. There was Miah, the trans actress playing my sister, who squeezed my shoulder as I took my mark. And then Jamal, the sound guy, who slipped me a protein bar with a wink. This was my chosen family, pieced together from misfits and dreamers, but it didn't fill the void Dad had punched through me. As I delivered the lines, "I can't breathe in here anymore. The walls are closing. The lies are choking me." My voice cracked on the last word, raw and real. The room went still, and Rita called cut with a soft, "That's it. Hold that." Applause rippled, tentative at first, then building, and for a second, I felt invincible. Afterward, Hunter was waiting outside, leaning against his rusty Jeep with a bouquet of daisies, wild ones, probably yanked from a park median. "Heard you crushed it," he said, thrusting them at me like they were contraband. "Figured you needed these." From one idiot to another. I laughed, genuine this time, burying my nose in the petals. They smelled like summer, like possibility. "How'd you know?" Jamal texted me. "Said you made grown-ass theater nerds cry." He grinned, that lopsided one that crinkled his eyes, and slung an arm around my shoulders as we walked to his car. "Pizza? My treat. No shop talk." We ended up at Peckwad's, the deep dish place with the caramelized crust that sticks to your ribs, holing up in a corner booth slick with years of sauce spills. The jukebox played Springsteen, Thunder Road, Dad's favorite, and it twisted the knife, but Hunter's presence dulled the edge. We talked about everything and nothing. His failed attempt at screenwriting, my obsession with Sondheim, the way Chicago winters felt like personal vendettas. Halfway through my second slice, grease dripping onto the paper plate, I blurted it out. "What if I bomb the audition? What if it's all for nothing?" Hunter set his beard down, foam clinging to his upper lip like a mustache. He wiped it away, serious now. "Then you try again. But you won't bomb. You're too damn good, Lo. And hey," he hesitated, fingers drumming the table, "if your dad shows up again, I'll be there. Back up." The offer hung between us, warm and weighty. I wanted to believe him, wanted to lean across the table and kiss that stupid foam off his lip myself. But Hunter was straight, remember? My best friend, my rock, but off limits in every way that mattered. "Thanks," I murmured, throat tight. "Means a lot." That night, as I lay on my lumpy mattress in the basement apartment I'd rented with bar tips, I replayed the evening like a highlight reel. Hunter's laugh, the brush of his arm against mine in the booth, the way he'd watched me eat like I was the main course. It was nothing, I told myself. Friendship. But in the quiet dark, With the L train rumbling overhead like a distant heartbeat, I let myself dream otherwise. The audition loomed like a storm cloud, 2 weeks away, and Dad's silence was thunder in the distance. He hadn't called, hadn't texted, not even the usual game on for Bears Sundays. Mom's sporadic emails from LA offered platitudes. He's just scared, baby. Give him time. Time for what? To rewrite me out of existence? I threw myself into prep, memorizing lines until they bled into my dreams, running scenes with Miah over burnt microwave popcorn. But the what-ifs not. What if Dad crashed it? What if the casting director saw right through my polish to the scared kid underneath? What if Hunter was there, watching me bare my soul, and it changed everything, or nothing? One evening, after a grueling rehearsal where I flubbed the kiss scene 3 times, the actor playing my love interest was straight, too, and the awkwardness was palpable. Hunter dragged me to the lakefront. Lake Michigan stretched out like a moody Atlantic, waves lapping at the concrete piers under a sky bruised with sunset. We skipped stones, his skipping 4 times, mine sinking like regrets. And for once, the silence was easy. You ever think about getting out? He asked suddenly, hurling a flat pebble that danced across the water. Like really out. California, New York. Somewhere your dad can't touch you. Every day, I admitted, my rock plunking immediately. But theater here's cheap, and, I don't know, roots I guess. Stupid ones. He turned, wind tousling his hair, and for a heartbeat, his gaze dipped to my mouth. Or maybe I imagined it. Roots can be replanted, low. You're more than this city, more than him. His voice was low, fervent, and something in it, God, something, made my chest ache. We walked back arm in arm, the city lights flickering on like hesitant stars, and I wondered if this was the peak before the fall. The audition was coming, Dad's shadow lengthening, and Hunter. Hunter was the variable I couldn't solve. Little did I know, the real storm was just offshore, building waves that would drown us both. The week before the audition, Chicago decided to remind me why they call it the Windy City, a gale straight off the lake that whipped through the loop like it had a grudge. I was rehearsing in Grant Park, script in one hand, coffee in the other, when my phone buzzed with a number I hadn't seen in years. Aunt Karen, Dad's sister, the one who'd moved to the suburbs after her divorce and sent Christmas cards with Bible verses underlined in red. Logan? Honey, it's Karen. Your father's. He's not doing well. My stomach dropped faster than a foul ball into the ivy at Wrigley. What? Is he sick? Visions of heart attacks, shop accidents, grease fires, crushed fingers, flashed like bad movie stills. A pause, heavy with unsaid things. No, not like that. He's drinking more. Talking crazy. Said something about you. About the play. I think he needs to see you, Lo. Before it eats him alive. I leaned against the cloud gate, that shiny bean sculpture reflecting my distorted face back at me. Eyes hollow, jaw tight. He made it pretty clear where I stand. Aunt Kay? Shoved me out the door, remember? She sighed, the sound like tires on wet pavement. Your dad's a stubborn old mule, but he's hurting. Lost his wife young, raised you solo. It's like losing you too. Come for dinner. Saturday. Neutral ground, my place in Oak Park. Bring that friend of yours, Hunter. I met him at your graduation barbecue. Nice boy. I agreed because saying no felt like kicking a puppy, and because part of me, the masochistic part, wanted to see if Dad's eyes had thawed. Hunter picked me up that afternoon, his Jeep smelling like pine air freshener and fast food, and I spilled the invite over the hum of the engine. Dinner with the enemy? He whistled low, merging onto the Eisenhower Expressway, horns blaring around us like impatient New Yorkers. Bold move, Hayes. You sure you want me there as your human shield? You're not a shield, I said, fiddling with the radio until it landed on NPR, some story about queer rights in the South, fittingly ironic. You're, I don't know, my +1. Moral support. He shot me a sideways glance, smirking. +1, huh? Fancy. I'll wear my good flannel. Oak Park was a world away from my South Side grit. Frank Lloyd Wright houses with gingerbread trim, lawns manicured like golf greens, the kind of suburb where neighbors wave from minivans and nobody locks their bikes. Aunt Karen's bungalow was all lace curtains and potpourri, the dining room table set with mismatched china and a centerpiece of fading mums. Dad was already there, nursing a highball in the armchair by the fireplace, his flannel shirt untucked, eyes bloodshot. He didn't stand when I walked in, just nodded, grunt-like. "Boy, Dad." My voice was steady, but my hands shook as I shrugged off my jacket. Hunter hung back, offering a polite, "Evening, sir," that Dad ignored. Dinner was a minefield. Karen's lasagna was overcooked, the conversation stilted, weather, Bears prospects, my little theater hobby. Hunter filled the gaps with charm, asking about Dad's glory days pitching for the high school team, drawing out a reluctant chuckle about a no-hitter against Evergreen Park. But under the table, my knee bounced like a jackhammer, waiting for the explosion. It came with dessert, apple pie a la mode, scoops melting into sad puddles. Karen cleared her throat. "So, Logan, this play of yours." Karen mentioned it's important. Dad's fork scraped his plate like nails on chalkboard. Important? Parading perversion for applause? That's what you call important. The room iced over. Hunter's hand found my thigh under the table, squeeze, steady, and I drew strength from it, even as bile rose. "It's art, Dad. Stories that matter. Like the ones you told me about Grandpa fighting in Nam, truth in the trenches." His laugh was bitter, whiskey sour. "This ain't trenches, son. This is a choice. A wrong one. Bible's clear, man with man, abomination. I won't watch you burn for it." Karen gasped, hand to her pearls. "Tom." But he barreled on, face purple. "You think I don't see? The way you look at that boy." His eyes flicked to Hunter, venomous, hanging off him like a damn tick. "I raised you better." Hunter stiffened beside me, but I exploded first. "Hunter's my friend. And yeah, maybe I am gay. Maybe I've been lying to myself. To you. Since I was 16 and terrified you'd hate me. But this," I jabbed a finger at my chest, "this isn't a choice. It's me. And if you can't see past your goddamn prejudice, then yeah, maybe I'm better off without you." The chair screeched as Dad shoved back, storming to the door without a word. It slammed, engine roaring to life outside, tires squealing into the night. Karen murmured apologies, pressing Tupperware into my hands, but I barely registered. Hunter drove us back in silence, his knuckles white on the wheel. "You okay?" he finally asked, as we idled at a red light on Lakeshore Drive, the skyline a glittering accusation. "No." The word hung, raw. "But thanks for everything. You didn't have to sit through that shit show." He pulled over near the Adler Planetarium, the dome glowing like a false moon. "Yeah, I did. Because..." He trailed off, rubbing the back of his neck, that telltale flush creeping up his collar. "Because it's not just friendship, Lo. Not for me. Hasn't been for a while." Time fractured. The city noise faded to a hum, and all I could hear was my heartbeat, thunderous. "What? I'm bi," he said, simple as stating the weather. "Figured it out last year, after that party where I kissed Jake from the lit class. Freaked me out, but seeing you, every day, pretending it was nothing? It's been hell." His eyes met mine, vulnerable, searching. "If you don't feel..." I kissed him. Right there, in the Jeep's cab, with the lake wind whistling through the cracked window. It was clumsy, noses bumping, stubble scraping, but electric, like plugging into a live wire. His hand cupped my jaw, thumb tracing my cheekbone, and when we broke apart, gasping, he whispered, "Audition's gonna kill, and I'll be front row." We didn't talk much after that, just drove to his place, hands intertwined over the gear shift. That night, we didn't cross lines, no more than holding, tracing scars and freckles in the lamplight, but it was enough. More than enough. Waking tangled in his sheets, sunlight slanting through the blinds, I felt seen. Whole. But secrets have a way of festering. The next day, as I prepped lines in a coffee shop near the theater district, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Saw you with Hunter last night. Dad knows. Watch your back." Attached was a blurry photo, us kissing in the Jeep, time-stamped from the night before. Panic clawed my throat. Who? One of Dad's buddies tailing us? Karen's nosy neighbor? I showed Hunter later, his face darkening like a storm front. "This is fucked. We go to the cops." "And say what? Someone's creeping on my make-out sesh?" I paced his living room, script forgotten on the couch. "No, it's probably just a bluff. Dad's bluffing to scare me off the audition." But doubt seated. Rehearsals turned tense. I flubbed lines, eyes darting to shadows in the wings. Hunter shadowed me everywhere, Walks home, coffee runs. His protectiveness a balm and a burden. I got you, he'd murmur, but I saw the strain, the way he'd check his mirrors like we were in a spy thriller. Audition Eve arrived with a heat wave, the kind that turns concrete to ovens and tempers to fuses. Rita hosted a cast-bond voyage at her loft in Pilsen, murals splashed on brick walls, sangria flowing like the Sangre de Cristo. Toasts were made, to breaking legs, to owning the stage. Miah pulled me aside, eyeliner smudged from laughing. You're glowing, Hayes. Love looks good on you. I blushed, glancing at Hunter across the room, charming Rita with stories of his short film flop. Yeah, feels real. But as the night wound down, my phone buzzed again. Voicemail this time. Dad's voice, slurred and seismic. Saw the picture, boy. Knew it. You're dead to me. Don't come crawling back when it all goes south. Click. I deleted it, hands trembling, but the poison seeped. Hunter found me on the fire escape, chain-smoking a cigarette I bummed from Jamal. He called. Worse. I handed him the phone, replaying the message. His jaw clenched, a muscle ticking. Lo, this isn't okay. He's harassing you. He's my dad. The words tasted like ash. What do I do? Confront him? He'll just deny it. Then we don't. We rise above. He stubbed out my cig, pulling me close, foreheads touching. Tomorrow, you audition. You shine. And whatever comes after, we face it. Together. I nodded, clinging to that promise as we tumbled into bed, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces. No rush, no heat, just the slow burn of discovery. Whispers in the dark about futures untethered from bloodlines. New York? He murmured, fingers in my hair. Or L.A., chase your mom's ghost. Anywhere but here. I breathed, and meant it. But dawn brought reality. The photo sender struck again. A forwarded email to Rita, anonymous. Logan's unstable. History of family drama. Don't cast him. She showed it to me pre-audition, her face a mask of fury. Ignore it. It's sabotage. But if you need to talk. I didn't. I channeled it. The rage, the fear, into the room. The audition space was a black box theater downtown, fluorescent harsh, judges in folding chairs like sentinels. My monologue, a gut-wrenching plea from the closet's edge. Words poured out, laced with Dad's venom, the kiss in the Jeep, the fragile hope of Hunter's hand in mine. Silence followed, thick as fog off the lake. Then applause, slow, building to a roar. Hayes, the lead judge said, a Broadway vet with a salt and pepper beard. That was visceral. Call back next week. I floated out, calling Hunter from the lobby. I did it. They loved it. His whoop echoed through the line. Knew it. Meet me at the Bean. Celebrating. But as I stepped into the street, tires screeched. A black SUV idling curbside, window down. Dad's face, haggard and hateful, framed in the glass. Proud of yourself? He sneered, before peeling away. My high crashed. Hunter waited at the sculpture, arms open, but the joy soured. Someone had leaked the photo. To him, to Rita. Betrayal simmered. But from whom? And how deep did it run? Callbacks came faster than a Lakeshore Limited, a whirlwind week of nerves and near misses. Rita locked down the cast list early. Me as the lead, opposite a newcomer named Alex, a lithe dancer from Evanston with cheekbones that could cut glass and a laugh like wind chimes. Rehearsals ramped up, the theater alive with blocking and banter, but the anonymous threats lingered like exhaust fumes. Another email to the company. Logan's bringing scandal. Family feud. Drop him. Rita forwarded it to the theater's board. Her reply a curt mind your own damn business. But the damage was done. Whispers rippled through the cast. Miah cornered me one afternoon, eyes wide. Lo, is this for real? Your dad. I nodded, throat dry as talcum. We were in the green room, mirrors fogged from breath and anxiety, scripts splayed like autopsy reports. Yeah, he's unraveling. Thinks I'm dragging the family name through the mud. She hugged me, fierce and fleeting. Screw that. Your family now. Ours. But doubt festered. I caught Alex glancing my way during runs, not with warmth, but wariness. Even Jamal's protein bars came with pitying pats. Hunter was my anchor, showing up with takeout falafel from a spot in Andersonville, quizzing me on cues until midnight. Our nights blurred into a rhythm. Dinners on his balcony overlooking the L tracks, slow dances to Coltrane on his ancient turntable, confessions traded like contraband. First crush was Tommy Riley. He admitted one evening, rain pattering the awning like Morse code. 8th grade, behind the bleachers. Kissed like we were solving world hunger. I laughed, head on his chest, heartbeat sinking with the downpour. Mine was the lifeguard at Montrose Beach. Watched him all summer, building sandcastles just to be near. Vulnerability bloomed between us, petals unfurling. His fear of small-town judgment if we visited his Iowa roots, my terror that Dad's hate was genetic, a poison in the blood. But cracks spiderwebbed. The photo cinder escalated. A printed copy slipped under my apartment door, circled with red marker, fags. Classic. I showed Hunter, his face hardening to granite. This is stalking. We trace it. How? I paced the narrow hall, fluorescents buzzing overhead. Burner email, no prints. It's probably Dad, outsourcing his rage. He pulled me down onto the stoop, city symphony swelling, sirens, laughter from a nearby bar. Then we confront him. Together. In this. The idea terrified and tempted. We drove to the auto shop next morning, a squat brick building on the edge of Chinatown, air thick with oil and regret. Dad was under a Chevy, legs sticking out like a mechanic's surrender flag. Mr. Hayes? Hunter called, voice even. Dad slid out, rag in hand, wiping grease from his brow. His eyes narrowed at me, then widened at Hunter's hand in mine. What the? Save it. I cut in, steel in my spine. The photos. The emails. It's you, isn't it? Trying to sabotage me because you can't stand who I am. He barked a laugh, harsh as backfire. Sabotage? Boy, I'm saving you. From yourself. From him. He jabbed a finger at Hunter. Knew he was trouble. Soft. Like you. Hunter stepped forward, calm as Lake Michigan on glass days. With respect, sir, you don't know me. Or Logan. He's talented, kind, the best man I know. And yeah, we love each other. If that's trouble, then guilty. Dad's face twisted, a storm of disgust, and something deeper, grief? Love? This ain't love. It's confusion. Sin. I buried your mother because of choices like this, chasing whims, leaving wreckage. Won't watch you do the same. Mom. The ghost I'd half forgotten, her LA emails a faint echo. Mom left because she had to breathe. I said, voice breaking. You choked her with your rules, your church. And now me? I'm not her. I'm not leaving. I'm fighting. For a life that fits. He deflated, rag limp in his fist. Fits? You'll fit right into a pine box when the world chews you up. But his eyes, God, his eyes, flickered with fracture, the hate cracking to reveal the hurt beneath. He turned away, muttering, get out. Both of you. We left, the shop door clanging like a cell gate. In the Jeep, Hunter gripped the wheel, knuckles blanched. That wasn't a confession. No. I whispered, staring at the blurring warehouses. But it was close. He's breaking. The betrayal hit harder that night. Rita called an emergency cast meeting. Another leak, this time to a local blogger, Chicago theater scandal. Lead actor in gay drama tied to family feud, photos surface. The article was trash, sensational slop with the Jeep kiss pixelated but unmistakable, quotes from sources close to the family, painting me as the villain, Dad the victim. Who? Miah demanded, pacing the stage like a caged tiger. This is insider shit. Eyes turned to me, and I felt the weight, the isolation. My dad, I said flatly. Or someone he told. Alex spoke up then, voice cool. Look, Logan, you're great. But this drama, it's distracting. The board's talking recasts. The words landed like body blows. Recast? After everything? Hunter, who'd snuck in the back, surged forward. That's bullshit. Logan's the heart of this. You drop him, you drop the truth. Rita raised a hand, authority crackling. Nobody's dropping anyone. Yet. But Logan, we need you locked in. No more leaks. I nodded, numb, but inside, fury boiled. That night, alone in my apartment, Hunter had a late shift at the video store. I scrolled the article comments, slurs, prayers, the usual American cocktail of ignorance. One stood out. Knew Hayes was trouble. Aunt Karen warned me. Karen? Aunt Karen. The dinner invite. Her probing questions. She'd seen us leave, maybe followed. Or overheard Dad's drunken rants. Betrayal from family. blood family, twisted deeper than Dad's shove. I confronted her the next day, pounding on her bungalow door until she answered in curlers and a robe, eyes puffy. Logan. What? The article. The photos. You sent them, didn't you? To protect Dad? To keep the family pure? She blanched, clutching her robe like a shield. I thought I was helping. He was destroying himself, drinking, ranting. I just wanted you to back off, give him space. Space. I laughed, hysterical. You outed me. Sabotaged my career. For what? Your brother's fragile ego. Tears tracked her cheeks, mascara rivers. I'm sorry, honey. Church group. They pushed. Said it was intervention. But I see now. God, I see you hurting. She reached out, but I recoiled. You're as bad as him. I turned, the door slamming on her sobs, the suburbs swallowing me whole. Hunter found me at the lakefront again, stones skipping farther now, anger fueling the throws. Karen, he echoed, sitting beside me, pebbles crunching under us. Jesus, double betrayal. Yeah, I hurled another, watching it sink. Whole family's a powder keg, and I'm the match. He pulled me against him, chin on my head. Then we defuse it, or we walk. But not alone. Rehearsals dragged, the cast's energy fractured. Alex warmed up, but the trust was gone, stolen glances, hushed asides. Rita pulled me aside post-run. You're gold, Hayes. But this noise, it's killing the vibe. One more leak, and the board forces my hand. Pressure mounted, a vice on my chest. Hunter and I fought our first real fight that week. Over nothing, everything. He wanted to go public, post our story on socials, flip the narrative. Own it low. Show the world we're unbreakable. And invite more hate. I snapped, pacing his kitchen, takeout containers littering the counter like casualties. Dad's unhinged. Karen's a leak factory. You want pitchforks at our door. His eyes flashed, hurt lancing. I want you safe. But hiding? That's what got us here. The words stung, truth barbed. We made up in the shower, water cascading, apologies murmured against skin, but the rift lingered, a hairline fracture. Then the high tide, opening night loomed, and the blogger struck again, this time with audio. Dad's voicemail, slurred and damning, splashed across a gossip site. Dead to me. The headline screamed. Father disowns gay son in vicious voicemail. Exclusive. Theater phones rang off hooks. Protests brewed. Queer activists outside, waving signs. Love wins. Hay stays. But inside, chaos. Sponsors pulling, board in uproar. Rita called me to her office, face etched with exhaustion. Logan, they're pulling the plug unless you step down. Say it's creative differences. My world tilted. After all this, the monologue, the callbacks. I know. She gripped my hand, calluses from years directing dreamers. But it's not just you. The show's at risk. Everyone's jobs. I left in a daze, wandering the streets until Hunter found me at our spot. The rooftop in Wrigleyville, city sprawl a dizzying quilt below. He climbed up, breathless, wrapping me in his jacket against the chill wind. Rita called. Said no. Yeah. I stared at the horizon, where the Sears Tower pierced the clouds like a defiant middle finger. It's over. He turned me, hands on shoulders, urgent. No, it's not. We pivot. Indie circuit, self-produce. Or hell, write our own story. Our story. The words ignited something, defiance, maybe love's sharper edge. But before I could respond, my phone erupted. Unknown caller. I answered, bracing. Logan. Dad's voice, sober for once, cracked like dry earth. Saw the news. The voicemail. Christ. Come home. Please. Suspicion warred with longing. Why? To grovel? Or more threats? A pause, ragged breath. To talk. Real talk. No bullshit. Hunter's eyes questioned, but I nodded. Go. Tomorrow. Neutral ground. The diner on Halstead. Hanging up, the rooftop felt vast, precarious. You sure? Hunter asked, thumb brushing my lip. No. I kissed him, fierce, tasting salt, tears, sweat. But I have to try. That night, sleep evaded, dreams a montage of spotlights and slammed doors. Betrayal layered like Chicago's smog, Dad's hate, Karen's meddling, the board's cowardice. But Hunter's steady breathing beside me anchored, a reminder that some bonds bend, don't break. Morning brought the diner, Formica tables scarred by decades of coffee rings, the jukebox crooning Patsy Cline. Dad waited in a booth, hands folded like prayer, no whiskey glass in sight. Son. Dad. I slid in opposite, the vinyl creaking. No Hunter this time, my battle. He didn't look up. Heard about the show? The pullout. Yeah, thanks to the circus you started. His wince was genuine, lines deepening around his mouth. Wasn't me. The voicemail. Karen took it, sent it. Said it was evidence for her church shrink. I didn't know. Another layer peeled. Karen, again. So what now? Absolution. No. He met my eyes, steel softened to lead. Understanding. Your mom. She was like you. Wild heart, stage dreams. I pushed, she broke. Swore I'd protect you from that, from hurt. By hurting me first, bitterness laced my words. He nodded, slow. Yeah. Feared losing you. So I pushed harder. A tear escaped, thumbed away. But I see now. You're strong. Like her. And that boy, Hunter, he looks at you like you're the sun. Deserves better than my poison. The admission hung, a bridge or a bomb. Then stop. The leaks, the hate. Let me live. I will. Voice rough. But stay. In Chicago. We try. Therapy maybe. Church. Nah, that's on you. I laughed, watery. Deal. Baby steps. We parted with a handshake. Awkward, but intact. Hope flickered, fragile as a match flame. But high tides crash. That afternoon, Rita called. Board caved, show on. Protests worked, and the voicemail humanized you, she said. Raw. Real. Elation surged. I raced to Hunter's, bursting in with the news. We're on. Opening next month. He hooped, spinning me until dizzy. Knew it. My star. But as we collapsed laughing, my phone buzzed. Final leak. A video, grainy, of Dad and me at the diner. Caption, reconciliation or setup. Hayes family drama escalates. Not Dad. Not Karen. Who? Opening night descended like a fever dream. The Athenaeum Theater swathed in black drapes and buzzing with pre-show electricity. Backstage was a hive, costumes rustling, makeup brushes dusting cheeks, the air thick with hairspray and hushed incantations to the theater gods. I paced in my jeans and button-down, the character's everyman uniform, script long memorized but clutched like a talisman. Hunter hovered, tie crooked, his presence a steady hum amid the chaos. You got this, he murmured, straightening my collar with fingers that trembled just a touch. The house is packed. Protesters turned supporters, rainbow flags everywhere. I nodded, but nausea churned. The leaks had culminated in a media frenzy. Local news vans outside, bloggers live tweeting, even a Windy City Times profile framing me as the accidental activist. Dad had gone radio silent post-diner, a fragile piece holding, but Karen's apologies via text felt hollow. Forgive me? Family first. Family. The words soured now, tainted by the anonymous puppeteer pulling strings. Rita clapped for attention, her buzz cut gleaming under the work lights. Family, she said, the irony not lost. This is our truth. Flaws, fights, and all. Break legs, but bring him back for curtain call. Curtain. The word propelled me on stage, heart jackhammering as the lights blazed, house a sea of silhouettes. First cue. My entrance, fumbling keys at the door, the monologue spilling like confession. The closet's not a room. It's a cage, bars forged from whispers and winks. The words flowed, laced with every shove, every leaked photo, every stolen kiss. Gasps rippled, then silence, rapt, reverent. Alex nailed his counter scene, our first fight, crackling with borrowed tension from my real life. Mia's sister role gutted them, her line, blood don't mean unbreakable, drawing sniffles. By intermission, the applause thundered, wolf whistles piercing, and backstage, Hunter crushed me in a hug. Holy shit, Lo? You're electric. But the high crested into dread during Act 2. As I delivered the climax, the coming out scream, raw and ragged, a phone rang in the house. Once, twice, insistent mocking. Murmurs swelled, then a voice. Turn it off. But it persisted, looping a voicemail, my voicemail. No, Dad's, the slurred dead to me, blasting tinny and damning. Panic seized. Sabotage mid-show. I faltered, line dropping like a stone, but Rita's voice from the booth, improvised, hold for effect, bought seconds. I ad-libbed, channeling fury. Hear that? That's the echo of hate, the ghost we bury tonight. The audience leaned in, enraptured, turning poison to plot. We finished strong. Bows met with a standing O that shook the rafters. After, in the alley behind the theater, amid overflowing dumpsters and cooling exhaust, the cast decompressed, cigarettes lit, champagne popped from plastic flutes. Hunter slung an arm around me, pride radiating. You turned it. Legend. But the ringleader waited in the shadows, Alex. He stepped forward, phone in hand, the culprit device, screen dark now. Logan. It was me. The alley spun. You? What? He shrugged, eyes downcast, the dancer's grace brittle. Heard the whispers. Thought you'd crack. Stepped down. I needed the lead. Rent's killing me. Folks cut me off when I came out. Audition was my shot. Betrayal bloomed, sharp as shattered glass. Not blood, but chosen kin. You leaked everything? The photos, the article. Most. Hunter lunged, but I held him back, voice ice. Get out. Before I call the cops. Alex slunk away, tail between legs, and the weight lifted, fractionally. No more ghosts, just echoes. Dad showed at the after-party, uninvited, in the dimly lit bar across the street. Neon signs buzzing go Cubs, air hoppy with craft IPAs. He hovered at the door, work boots scuffed, until I waved him over. The cast eyed him warily, Miah stiff, Jamal neutral, but Hunter nodded, gracious. Sir. Son. Dad slid into the booth, nursing a Coke. Saw the show. From the back. You were her. Your mom. On that stage in high school, before she ran. The admission cracked me open. Hurt you? No. He shook his head, slow. Proud. Scared shitless, but proud. A beat. Sorry, don't cut it. But I'm trying. AA meetings, that shrink. For you. I gripped his hand across the scarred oak table. Calluses meeting calluses. Baby steps. Hunter joined then, sliding beside me. Our thighs pressing, a quiet claim. Dad's gaze flicked, lingered, then softened. Treat him right, Ellis. Or I'll wrench your Jeep myself. Laughter bubbled, nervous, new. The night unfurled. Toasts to survival. Numbers swapped with activists. Rita plotting sequels. Karen arrived late, tear-streaked, offering amends. I forwarded nothing after the first. Swear. Therapy's helping, seeing my part in the cage. Forgiveness? Not yet. But a nod, a start. Weeks blurred into afterglow. The play ran 6 months, critics raving. A raw gut punch of Midwestern queer resilience. Offers trickled, off-Broadway reads, indie film cameos. Hunter and I sublet a 1-bedroom in Logan Square. Brownstone charm with creaky floors and a fire escape herb garden. Mornings, coffee black, scripts shared over toast. Evenings, rooftop sunsets, his head on my shoulder, city lights winking approval. Dad visited Sundays. Awkward barbecues in his backyard, ribs charred but heartfelt. Bears game, he'd grunt, and we'd watch, beers in hand, commentary laced with less bite. Mom called from LA, voice tentative, saw the reviews. Shining, baby. Like me, but braver. We planned a visit, cautious, but open. Not all fractures heal clean. Alex vanished, blacklisted in whispers, a cautionary tale. Karen's church ties frayed, but she showed at closing night, front row, clapping till her palms blistered. Betrayal scar, but they teach, trust earned, not assumed. One twilight, on our rooftop, the romantic heart of it all, mugs steaming, skyline aglow, I turned to Hunter. What now? He smiled, that lopsided beacon. Now? We write the sequel. Our rules. I kissed him, slow and sure, the world below fading to a hum. Chicago, brutal, beautiful, had tried to break me. But in the ruins, I'd built something truer. Love, uncloseted, unbreakable. And in that, grace. Human, messy enough,